Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, the 14th of January, 2023, and I'm winging things, right? So, I feel like with legacy media, mainstream media, and like all platforms, everything is so scripted, and oftentimes by design too, just so people can get in important information or data, whatever you want to call it, in a coherent, organized fashion or manner, right? Just so that people don't like go off on tangents like I generally like to do sometimes too, or overextend timings and completely miss other discussions because people again like go off track and stuff like that as well. And so I'm hoping that once I get a little bit of help with these videos and get someone to help me with editing and taking a lot of the stuff that I share as references and throwing them in my videos just to make it a lot easier and on everyone. But anyway, I talk a lot about electromagnetism and how that is literally what is creating this world, and how there's a collective consciousness as well, but it's heavily controlled by sound, water, magnetism, and ether. So even with domes and spires and sound frequencies, vibrations, and regenerated ether, these are there have been structures all over the world that are part of like the original grid or whatever you want to call it, and have like magnetic, clear like structures or designs, even with like the 2 figure 8s, looking like a flower with 4 sides or whatever you want to call it, as well in the toroidal fields that I've shown as well, and. What look like this. I guess it would be easier if I show you. I'm not the greatest at drawing, and like what we see on like a lot of electrical posts too. We see like the reversed horseshoe, symbol of luck in some traditions, whether it be up or down. It depends on if you get luck or good luck or bad luck, and but also the symbol of how to harness this magnetism or this electrical magnetic frequency wave stuff that we experience, and how like electricity, for example, is also generated. Energy is generated. I really hope this stuff makes sense. It's really hard, especially when I'm winging it. Like I don't write any like sentences. I just write like just random notes, and sometimes I don't know where I was going with it, but it is what it is. So God and the devil. I've talked about when you like reverse like a lot of words, it can mean other things. So like even with God, could be reverse, could be dog, and devil could be lived. But there's also with God, if you add an O, it's good, and then with the devil, if you take away the D, it's evil. So even with God and the devil, this is good versus evil. And I've talked about Kundalini and meditation, and I've talked about how religion, how it's more like hypothetical or allegorical, and not something that should be taken as literal or fact based. And if you look at the Galatians, this is in the King James Bible, and I also have Bibles. I have multiple Bibles, but I do have the King James original version, which doesn't have like chapters taken out as like some other updated Bibles do. And but in Galatians it does, like it literally in chapter 4 verse 24, it basically says that it's an allegory. So maybe if I just take this off and so this is a Bible search. This is something that I pay for monthly as well. This is for the it says King James version, but there's multiple other different like versions that you can look at as well for Bible verses. Again, I just like the King James original version because it's one of the more older ones, and it has like a lot of the hidden symbology still within it. So which things are an allegory? Like he's talking before that about it's about Abraham and Sarah and things like that. So like everything that he discusses with them, and even with like the 13 tribes and Jacob and etc. is allegorical. For these are the 2 covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which generated to bondage, which is Agar. Anyway, and so it's right there. And then if you look, it's ordinal 1199, reduction 542, reverse 1690. Some people look at that, how many words? There's 24. That's also like symbolic with Jesus Christ. And also dawn. And anyways, 107 letters, 135. Anyway, so that's just like one, and multiple other verses as well that do discuss the fact that these things should not be taken literal, and how these are again allegorical. spiritual symbology, and absolutely people should be taking a look at the Ten Commandments and the different, like, I guess we'd call it like systems of governance in the various other different religions as well, and even with Vishnu and other religious figures or prophetic figures throughout ancient history. Like these are people that even predate Jesus Christ by thousands of years, and it's exact duplicate even with Isis and Osiris and Horus, and the story with Jesus and Mary and God. And Vishnu, Krishna, and with Buddha as well, like very similar, not even very similar, like the exact same stories and backstories, and very similar lessons, I guess, for how we're supposed to live our lives, and very symbolic, and ties in constellations, astronomy, astrology, and say that in order to know God, you need to know yourself. And this is where it also talks about the Kundalini awakening and how we need to meditate. It talks about meditate, like there's meditations in the Bible, right? And acts in the Bible, but that discuss, like, in order to know God and to be better able to serve others, and we need to know ourselves. And this is why, like, also with being a good person, or trying to be a good person, even with our thoughts, and doing what we're supposed to be doing in life, even if it's like self-sacrificial in various different ways. This is how, like, we can find or access God. And then again, this the central the cerebral spinal fluid, like, and there's even connections again with with seven, and with the seven chakras, and these are energy centers as well that people can harness again to get the energies to go up and transcend, so that we can access our higher levels of consciousness and get that connection with the pituitary gland, thalamus, and pineal glands, and get that Christ oil to open up our third eye, or whatever you want to call it. And it's symbolic in so many different representations throughout the world, in various different indigenous communities throughout as well. And even with the angel wings that we see it, like when you separate the midbrain, you can see that structure that looks like angel wings, and the thalamus being like the inner chamber, where, like, the meeting place, where the connection could go through this Christ oil or seed, that connects us again with our. Anyway, I keep on repeating the same things. Yeah, so there was no so talking about walking on water again. This is the light, how it, like, goes off of water, and virgin birth. There's so many stories about virgin births. Like, this is not so much a virgin birth, but like a unity that created like a sacred bond, where there was, like, purity in the creation of the baby involved as well, right? So like an untainted creation of a birth, I think, is what they're also discussing with that. There's no eating of his body, and even with, like, the 25th of December being, like, days after the winter solstice, and where, like, the sun stops essentially for a period of, like, 3 days, and even with 3 days of fasting, that can completely regenerate our organs, like our digestive systems, and heal so many different illnesses that we have. And but of course, corporations and government doesn't want us to fast, because that means that like, we're not, like, eating as much, we're not consuming as much junk food that's harming us and keeping us stuck and calcifying our pineal glands and things like that. And if you look online, you would see this stuff. And if you look into the books and get off of censored browsers as best as you can, and take a look at my references, then again, you'd be on a better track. And yeah, so, like, even Noah with the ark, and like holding, like, the two, of each animal in the world, like, these are all, again, like symbolic. But like even with, like, the flat versus globe Earth stuff, like, it's impossible to prove the non-existence of things, right? So this is what's kept everyone perpetually stuck, right? When you create or design something for people, and you have, like, a mass amount of people that are willing to sacrifice, like, their lives and the lives of others in order to, like, propagate this like this narrative, then, like, it's like, how do you win in this too, right? So, like, so even with Jesus Christ, like, how do you prove the non-existence of him? How do you prove the non-existence of Abraham, or these people? Even when I share that in Bibles that people can look at for themselves, and I'm giving them even, like, the chapters and the Psalms and stuff like that. It's like it's really, like, it's hard to to get people to like understand like the connections, even with, again, like the north, south, east, west connections with like there's just so many connections with religion and science and the anatomy that I try to share, that are synchristic, that we're totally missing the like the point of life when we don't connect these all together. So even like yeah, so people with like flat earth, I'm sharing multiple like videos like for proof and books, and giving countless examples of my own, and it's still not enough for people because people are not even looking at the proof, right? Like they're just so it doesn't matter how much proof I give them. I can't like debunk someone's like version of reality if they believe that there's a globe earth, even though multiple people have said that it's not true, because it doesn't exist, right? And so like people are like again, like even with like these figures I'm talking about that are spiritual symbolic representations of like a more esoteric, way of living that is completely being lost on people. It's I don't know, like even like with like cultures like the reason why they do yoga and they meditate and they try to like get access to their right hemisphere, or the right side of their brain, is to as again it's a way of serving God, I guess, and I guess that's not popular for people, that especially the atheists that are taking that are removing it away from sciences. But it's pseudoscience that we're being taught as well, right? So people can't prove to me about gravity. They can't prove to me like that the Earth is a globe, because these things are not real. They don't exist, and it's going to be forever that I can show them proof that the world is flat and stationary and not spinning, and like the sun and the moon are closer than what we're being led to believe, and then when you zoom in, they look like luminaries that are pulsing or vibrating based on sound frequency and water and electromagnetism, and not these like these three-dimensional physical objects, like that we're being led to believe. Right? These are energy sources that impact us significantly as well. And but again, this is a simulated environment as well. And there is a center of the world. There is a dome above and possibly below. I've showed countless examples too of where like ancient, more advanced civilizations have tried to describe or show the reality of this earth plane, and even that there's a lot of land that's being hidden from us, and with plenty of resources and better ways of people living, and different systems of governance as well, and a lot more accountability at the individual level, right? Which also assists the collective, and yeah. Compass numbers 2 verses 2. It talks about like the directions of the anyway, I think on that note, I'll leave it at that. And I don't want to get too negative like in the news, but like there's more proof out there about like World Health Organization and the UN and CDC and NIH and WEF and high levels of government and top experts and the mainstream media, like elected people that were in charge of like the scripts that and Fauci and stuff like that. Like more and more lies are being shared, and it's to some people it can be alarming, and this is something that like I try to share awareness, because we're being lied to, especially in Canada. We're so censored with this stuff, and I don't know, like unless people here start getting like more passionate, I guess, or more, I guess, upset at their mayors and their current heads, elected officials and stuff like that, and ask for people to resign and step down because of all the information that I've been giving now for years now, then there's no way out of this, right? Because it's up to us at the individual level, unfortunately, which is why I make these videos, which is why I keep on doing like countless hours of research that take away from like any form of social life that I can possibly have, because this information is bigger than me. And even when I discuss just like aspirating needles and the fact that like it's not even taught in like any of the steps now at the World Health Organization and a lot of experts within Canada, we're not aspirating needles and still not. And where I'm even seeing it on live television, like people going through their lines and getting inoculated and again not aspirating needles. So again, this is at the lower level. Even with that, could save so many lives, and or also mitigate or circumvent any form of like adverse side effects in especially in children, right? So people that can't defend themselves or take a look at this information for themselves, for so many different reasons, but But yeah, it's bigger than me and my needing to like start a family and things like that, which again is probably not going to happen based on my age alone right now. But I'm still healthy, so we'll leave it at that. Yeah, like I'm saying this stuff too, even with like the digital IDs and having a cashless society. This is stuff that has been done before in the past and failed miserably, and where ultimately it came the society became more of a socialist communist country, not a good thing. And then and this is where like within a short period of time millions of people ended up dying. And when you have elitists that don't care, you know, about people that die because like they're so far removed from like that like national sovereignty of like those places where people are getting impacted, then then what do you do, right? And so yeah, I think on that note I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.